shaking my friends, welcome back to the channel. My name is Shay and today is the start of Realmathon. It is Realmathon. Currently it's the 29th. You can start reading at midnight. My book club readathon is the same way. We can start reading at midnight. So I did get the prompts that we have to fulfill for my book club readathon as well that I'm doing. So if you don't know, this month I am participating. I've overcommitted myself. I am doing my month-long in my personal book club, my month-long challenge there. I am doing Realmathon. I chose my jars. We're just doing all the things. And what kind of chaotic life am I leading right now? But I'm really happy because I need to procure what I'm going to read. And I have decision paralysis. I mean, it's a thing. It's a thing. I used to not be this kind of reader, but now I am. So I have a jar. I always have a jar, right? Because decision paralysis. I have placed all the books that I pulled out from my TBR jar. If you did not see my March TBR jars, I put all the books in here from there. But I also put books in here that would fit Realmathon and give me extra points for Team Shadows in some sort of way. Either it had a black cover, it had a building on the cover, maybe it had a school setting, whatever. And primarily I chose books that I owned. So because we're trying to read down the owned TBR and we haven't done such a fantastic job of doing that this year. So that's what we're doing. So there's some chunky boys in here. There's all kinds of books in here, but whatever it is, I have to read this book. I'm not going to give myself any passes except for if I pull an indie book that does not have an audio. Listen, guys. Listen, indie folks, next month is going to be your month. Next month is going to be the month I get back to physically reading. I did read like a 600-page physical book in February, so go me. But I am not very good with my eyes only at the current moment because I did just read a 601-page one. So here we are. I don't even know. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to then try to look at my book club and see where this book may fit in for a prompt. I do this jar and I'm like, yes, because I have decision paralysis. And then it's like, well, but I'm scared. I'm scared to pull it. Okay. We're just going to go for it. We're going to go for it. We're going to just do what I feel. This one. This is the one. This is the one I'm going to read. I'm nervous. Oh no. Okay. This is going to be from my TBR jars. This is The Heiress by Rachel Hawkins. So actually this is a very good thing because I can start out with a very, very kind of short read to kind of get my momentum moving. I don't think that this fits anything in Realmathon really because it's not a black cover. It doesn't have a school setting. It doesn't have a building on the cover. But maybe it will give me some kind of points. I'll have to look at that. It definitely will give me page points at least. So we'll kind of see. But that's going to be the first book I read. I have to look and see where I can actually attain The Heiress. So let's go. Let me grab my phone and let me look and see. And you can see my process of trying to figure out how I'm going to attain this book. So let's see. I know that my library is not going to have it because it just came out. So let's look on. I'm going to look on Hoopla real quick, which it's probably not on there, but you never know. You have to look. Okay. So I'm going to look on Everand. So of course it's not on there either. Did you ever notice since Scribd turned into Everand that a lot of they still have newer titles, but they have a lot less? Has anybody else noticed that? Because it used to be I could find most books that I wanted, whether they were new released, whatever, on Scribd. And then when they changed to Everand, that has just not been the case, which is interesting. But I think I'm going to have to spend an Audible credit on this, which, you know, that's great. Let's see. So actually, I'm probably going to buy it instead because to purchase it it's only $10, which is less than the cost of an Audible credit. So that's what I'm probably going to do. We're going to spend some money this month. Hey, which I'm giving myself a reprieve because number one, if I'm spending money this month on these books, then by the way, I'm also reading the books. So it's not adding anything to my physical TBR, even though I am using money, I'm spending money, but I'm still reading. So I can justify that. All right, I will pop back in when I have some thoughts. I have read The blue one. The blue one and Reckless Girls. I don't know what the blue one was called. The one that had the wallpaper with the pink. I don't know. I'll pop it up here. But I did read that one, and I thought it was fine. I actively despised Reckless Girls. I don't know. I just couldn't handle it. And then last year with her release, because I didn't like Reckless Girls that much, I didn't read that. So this will be the first one that I am coming to after some time with Rachel Hawkins, and I'll come back with my thoughts. Alright, so it is Monday night. It is still the 1st, and I have finished The Heiress by Rachel Hawkins. I did not get a chance to update while I was reading it because I read it mostly while I was doing other things and could not stop and update you. So, for Realmathon, this gave Team Shadows 25 points, which is not super a lot, but I'm trying to help out my team. And for my book challenge, I read this for the thriller prompt. Okay, let's talk about what The Heiress is about. So we're following, we get 2 points of view in the story. We get our male main character and our female main character. They are married, and we're starting out the story as he is learning that his uncle has died and he has to go back home. He has been adopted into this multi-million-dollar family, and unfortunately he is the heir to this hundreds of million-dollar estate, and he doesn't really get along with his family. So he actually left his family and moved across country to kind of like forget them and to live his life on his own. And then when he gets his call that he has to go back and get the inheritance because now his uncle has died, he lets his wife know about what's going on, and she convinces him, yes, we're gonna go and we're gonna see what this is all about, because she quickly learns about this house and this life that he lived, and she is very intrigued about the house, and she falls in love with the house, and she just knows this is what she wants for her life. And so they go back and it ensues from there. I think telling you anything else will be a spoiler. So it was definitely a family type drama situation. There were some twists and turns. It reminded me a lot of The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hardcastle, because this woman who is his adopted mother is very mysterious. She was kidnapped when she was a baby, and she actually has had like 4 husbands that have died on her, and she's just this really strange, mysterious person. And so she is kind of, we get her perspective as she's writing letters back to her adopted son, and just kind of solving some of the mysteries for us. And she's telling the story of basically her life and how her life came to be, and each kind of husband that she married and what happened there. And it's just very interesting. That's why it reminded me a lot of Evelyn Hugo, because we're learning kind of the way the story was told. I personally saw every single twist coming. I knew it from jump, so nothing really shocked me. I think that, again, this is one of those books that if you're new to thrillers, definitely check it out. I do think this is a departure from Rachel Hawkins' normal works. Even though I've only read 2 of them, this one is definitely a lot different from those. But overall, I think it was just a 3-star read for me, because there was no shocking, nothing new, bringing nothing new to the genre. And now I am ready to pick my next prompt out of my jar. The prompts dropped. I know that I said for my book club, and I think that it's going to be very, very difficult to fit some of these books into these prompts, because they are very, very specific prompts. The more, we go along, they get more and more specific. And so I'm going to try my best to pick a book and then see if I can fit this into a prompt. If I can't fit into a prompt, we'll try again. But that's the plan. That's the plan, to do that. So again, I need an audiobook. It's the start of the weekend. I need to make my team some points. I always feel pressured to kind of read really fast when I'm doing these challenges, which is, why I probably shouldn't do so many challenges. But I am enjoying myself, and I think they are very, very fun. Okay, so this is my second book right here, hopefully, if it has an audiobook. Okay, so if you can see, this is Velocity Weapon by Megan O'Keefe. Okay, so I picked Velocity Weapon, and Velocity Weapon is a little bit of a chunk. I'm going to try to get as much into this book tonight as I can. It's still the first. I'm hoping to finish this up tomorrow. I'm really hoping on the weekends that I can get through one book a day so I can not lose my momentum. I'm super excited. I've been wanting to read this book for quite some time. I don't know what it's about. It's a sci-fi. I picked it because it's a black cover, so it'll give me bonus points for Team Shadows and Realmathon. And I haven't heard the best of things about this one. I own this one plus The Blighted Stars by her, and so I'm interested to kind of see where my feelings lie on this. I don't know if I have the audiobook. Let's see if I can find the audiobook. Remember, I had to buy the audiobook for The Heiress. Let's just kind of see if I can find this one. Maybe it's at the library. Also, I know that I said that I had to, that The Heiress was not on Everand, but actually it was. I just didn't have access to it because it blocked me out because I had already listened to a 2024 release that month, and of course, you know, only so many 2024 releases can you listen to. So of course, that was a thing. But I'm gonna have to, so the library doesn't have it that I see, which is just so agitating to me. So not the library. Let me check another library. Okay, so a very long wait at the library. It's not on Hoopla. Let me try Everand. And of course, it's also not on Everand. So we are going to have to use another Audible credit. I'm not upset about it. Let's see how much it is on Audible. And I actually didn't use a credit on The Heiress because I just bought it because it was only like $10. So a credit, if you don't know about Audible, is $15. So you pay $15 a month, or you know, you may get 2 a month. But I am on the $15 a month credit thing because I was getting to where I was stacking up my credits because I wasn't using them very often, so I have a whole bunch, and they do actually expire. So if you didn't know that, Audible credits do expire after a certain amount of time, and I used to be on the 2 a month, and I had too many and I was afraid they were going to expire. So I didn't use a credit because it was less than the cost of a credit. And Velocity Weapon actually is, with taxes, it's probably going to be about the same amount as a credit. So I may just use a credit now on Velocity Weapon. It's an 18-hour and 22-minute audiobook, so it is a chunker. When I get a little bit into this, I hope to kind of check in. I think that this is a trilogy. So here I am starting another series, but it's all about the team. It's all about the team. So I'll check in shortly. You'll see me in just a minute where I'm telling you my initial thoughts on Velocity Weapon. Okay, so it's now Saturday. I didn't get as much read last night as I wanted to because I got busy, but I'm now about 200 pages into Velocity Weapon. The synopsis of this is very vague, and I think that it's vague for a reason. So in this book, we're following multiple timelines. We are looking at the future, where we have our female main character who wakes up in this pod 230 years into the future, and she realizes she's the only one on this ship. I've read a lot of books like this, so this is not a shocking premise. She's the only one on the ship, and she finds out that the planet that she lived on is gone. There was a war and everybody was wiped off, and she could very well be the only one left. And that's, of course, very, very scary. She wakes up on this AI ship, so that's all she has as a companion. And then we're kind of flashing back to the time that this supposed war happened and the time where this girl got put into this pod for 200 something years. So we are following her brother as he's telling the story of what happened in the past. And lots of politics, lots of world building things. I can't say that I'm super attached to any of these characters right now at this moment in time. There's nothing wrong with the writing. I think that the timeline jumping can be kind of a little wonky. There is another perspective we get every so often as an interlude of a news reporter, which I think I find a little bit strange. I don't know. There are just multiple points of view in the story, and I feel sometimes pulled out of the story when we change point of views. The only point of views really that have gripped me are our main female main character and her brother. And the rest of the point of views, I just really could care less. We do have a point of view from a reporter at times, and we have a point of view from somebody who steals this kind of drug. And I don't know why that storyline connects to the story. So right now it feels very disjointed, very disconnected. So I'm hoping in the future, of course, we're going to find out how these things like intertwine. I don't know. I don't know. I find it a little bit confusing right now at this point. Like all the points of views and the timeline skipping, we're going back and forth from the future and then back in time with multiple points of view. So it's definitely one that I've had to physically lay my eyes on. I am immersion reading this. I did buy the audiobook. I didn't use a credit. I bought the audiobook. It was like $1.50 less than using a credit. So, but I'm enjoying my time. I can't say that I'm overly excited. Right now it feels like a 3-star range, but I have a lot more left to go. So what I'm going to do right now is I am going to go and I'm going to grab myself a new phone because my phone's camera has gone kaput. So last night I backed up my phone and now I have to go and get a new one. So I will, hopefully that won't take long, and then I'll come back and I'll continue to read, and I'm still hoping that I'm on target to finish this today. Okay, forgive the way that I look, but I have finished Velocity Weapon. It is still Saturday night, and overall I really enjoyed this. I think that this is a great beginner book for people looking to get into sci-fi. It has a lot of twists and turns that I was personally shocked by. And I did eventually get connected more with the characters. I'm still not liking that one certain storyline, but you know, I like majority of the others. So I'm interested in seeing what the second book in the series holds. I will be continuing on. Overall, I give this a 4-star. So this is my first venture into Megan O'Keefe, and I liked her writing style. Now, so that's 2 books. And we are going to, I'll pop the number of points, either negative or positive, that it gave on Realmathon, but I'm just very tired at this moment in time. So the only brain power I have right now is to pull another jar pick and see kind of what we're gonna do. Okay. I'm nervous. This is it. Okay, so if you can see that, this is The City of Stardust by Georgia Summers. Just came out in January, so this is another 2024 release, so I don't know what I'm going to do about the audiobook for that, but it's going to give me points for building on the cover for Realmathon, and it's a shorter one. So that's really exciting, and I have a beautiful special edition of this from Fairy that I just got. It is stunning, and I will pop back in and tell you how I'm consuming it, where I got it from, and all of that. Okay, so it is Sunday, and I'm about 100 pages into The City of Stardust. This is the beautiful Fairy Loot edition that I am reading from. I have just reached part 2. So far, I'm really enjoying my time. I'm gonna read a little bit about this. There is a cost to survival. Violet Everly is just a matter of fine-tuning the price. For centuries, Everlys have seen their brightest and best disappear, taken as punishment for a crime no one remembers, for a purpose no one understands. Their tormentor is a woman named Penelope who never ages, never grows sick, and never forgets a debt. 10 years ago, Violet Everly's mother left to break the curse and never returned. Now Violet must find her mother or she will be taken in her place. So we are following Everly. We are following her as a child as she grows up to in her 20s, and she basically lives with her 2 uncles. Very mysterious. She doesn't know what's going on. She's never allowed to leave this house. It's like a mansion. Never allowed to leave this house. Her uncle, one of her uncles, always stays at the house with her, but then another uncle, maybe a year goes by before she sees him again. Maybe a few months goes before she sees him again, and so they're kind of in and out. And one day, while she is a young girl, she remembers this woman coming in with this young boy, and some of the things that she catches this woman saying, and then On top of the fact that this little boy shows her magic. And so that kind of sparks her interest in what is really going on. And we see as she grows up, she's not allowed to go to school. She is strictly in this house. She does get a job when she's in her early 20s at a coffee shop. And she ends up meeting this young boy that showed her magic again when she was very, very young. And so it gets her into this world and what is really going on and what has been kept for all these years, and that's that there is a price on her blood, and if her mother does not return, then she must pay that price. And so she has to go, and she's about to go off and hunt for her mother. I really, really like the tone of this story. I like the characters of the story. I like the mystery aspect of the story. I kind of relate it to The Cartographers by Pink Shepherd. That one also did not get the best reviews, but I personally loved it. And so I'm kind of comparing that to this. This is like a fantastical mystery. There is other worlds in this book, and I just really like the intrigue and the mystery in this. And so we'll see kind of where it goes. Now, it is Sunday, and it is cleaning day in our house. So I also have to help my daughter with a school project. So I'm not sure how far I'm going to get in. I'm hoping to finish today. It's very sad that it's the end of the weekend already. We have to go back to work tomorrow, but I am hoping that I get a good dent into this maybe tonight and finishing up tomorrow. I don't know, but I am loving this. I am reading this in my book club for a moon on the cover, and then it's going to give me extra points in Realmathon because there are buildings on the cover, which is extra bonus points if you're on Team Shadows. Okay, so I will check back in when I'm a little bit further in or when I'm finished with the book. It's Monday, and I have now finished The City of Stardust. This gave me like 35-ish points for Team Shadows. Go Team Shadows. Listen, this book shocked the hell out of me. I understand the criticism of this book. This book has a 3.5 average on Goodreads. This is not a book for everyone, but this book hit me exactly right. And so I give this book five stars, 5 out of 5. Number one, the world was so ethereal. I mean, the writing was phenomenal, beautiful. The world was this ethereal kind of place, and I just loved the tone of the story. And I didn't quite love the way that it ended. Don't get me wrong, this book has its issues, but just the way that it made me feel. Now, this book has been compared to The Night Circus. I hated The Night Circus. So what can I say about that? I hated The Night Circus. I don't think that you have to love The Night Circus to love this, but it also gets compared more closely to The Starless Sea. So I'm more interested in reading The Starless Sea now, which I absolutely had no inkling or no want to read that book ever because of how much I hated The Night Circus. And they do say that this has more plot than The Starless Sea. So I haven't read The Starless Sea, so I can say, but just this dark, creeping tone reminds me of the tone that is kind of in the, also in The Last Tale of the Flower Bride. The writing and the tone of the story reminds me of that. Also, The Cartographers, it reminded me of that story and just kind of the mystery of everything and the way that that made me feel. But anyway, I liked this story, and what else can I say about the story except that I understand its flaws. I liked all the characters. I loved that not everything tied up neatly in a bow. While I did not like the very, very ending of the story and how rushed it kind of felt, I ended up liking the book as a whole. So this does kind of shift tones a little bit, which may throw some people off. So in our first bit of the story, you know, we're following Violet as she is young and she is kind of getting to understand or finding out that her mother is not coming back and there is a curse that has been placed on the family. And so we're finding that out as she is growing up with her uncles. And then of course, then we have the next part of the story. The story are in parts. So then we have the next part of the story where Violet is now a grown adult and she kind of goes off on her own to kind of investigate the curse and where her mother is. And then the leading up to trying to find some answers about what is going on. I just loved the way the story was told. I will tell you that there is some child death in here, so if that triggers you, know that there's not a whole bunch of it, but it is in this book. I overall just really enjoyed this, and I don't know what else I can say. I understand why people hate it, but this holds a special place in my heart, and I'm very, very excited that I have the beautiful, stunning Fairy Loot edition. I will say that I listened to the audio. I immersed and read this. I did read in my special edition as I listened on audio, and I will say that the audiobook made me angry at certain times. Not that there was anything wrong with the narrator, but you know how sometimes in audiobooks you can tell where like the author has messed up, and obviously they have re-recorded that section and popped it in because it doesn't, like, it's a shift in tone and place, and obviously this portion is out of place. That happened a lot in this audiobook, like more often. I feel like multiple times a page. I don't know what happened. At some point you have to say, hey, listen, dude, like, you're gonna have to go back and re-record the audiobook. I don't know, but the amount of times that obviously the audiobook narrator had messed up, had to re-record, and those re-recorded areas were placed into the story, and it sounded completely different from how she was talking before. I don't know. That may not irk you, but it irked me a little bit. But now that I have read a 5-star read, which is my first 5-star really since January, my first book of January, which was The Eye of the World, we're going to pick out of this jar again. There's dust flying, I swear. Y'all, this is ridiculous. Okay. Please be good to me. I feel like I'm going to get a chunker. I just feel it in my bones. And okay, here it is. Am I manifesting this on myself? Okay. I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at it. Clearly it wants me to read this kind of story. So this is a study in drowning. So I have this book somewhere. Let me find it. Okay, here it is. So it's very shiny. But we know that I am an Ava Reid stan. I've only read one book by her, but whatever. That was Juniper and Thorn. I loved it. And we're going to try to read A Study in Drowning. And I'm excited. Let's go. Let's go. I think this one is on Everand, so I will not have to purchase this audiobook. It has a mostly black cover, so that's also great for Team Shadows. Okay, so that's why it's in my jar. All right, we'll check back in when I get a little bit into the book, and I'll catch you guys later. Alright, so it is now Tuesday. I didn't read it very much yesterday. I spent some time doing some other things. I am absolutely positively exhausted, but I have finally managed to get 50% into A Study in Drowning by Ava Reid, and I'm very sad to say that I'm not loving the story. It's moving at very, very slow paced. We have our two main characters who, obviously this is kind of like a rivals to lovers romance story with, they call it dark academia, but I'm not quite positive why. Like, they obviously are in college, but the story doesn't take place in the college setting. It takes place at a creepy old house that our main character has won a contest to redecorate this house. She's in architecture school, and one of her favorite authors has died, and the family has been looking for an architect to redesign his old worn down house. And then when she gets there, she meets this literature student who also is doing some literature work and living there, you know, doing some work, biography work about this author that has passed away. Our main character is in love with this author. It's her favorite author. She has the books memorized, and she has some mental things going on. My first problem with this is that this is marketed as YA. Now, YA age range, and this is a whole other video concept, but YA age range is 12 to 17. And while I do really understand that 12 is a different mental capacity than a 17-year-old, so it does grind my gears that the same book that is marketed for a 12-year-old is the one that's marketed for a 17-year-old. Like, that's 5 years of difference, and that's a lot of difference. As somebody who has an 11-and-a-half-year-old, it's different. I have no idea why this is marketed as YA. Number one, our main characters are in college. Okay, so they're in college. I think she's 18, so she may be in her first year of university. But it also tackles some very, very heavy topics. Feminism, sexual assault, just some very, very heavy topics that I would think lean more towards adults than YA. So I am very, very confused as to why this is marketed towards a YA audience. I don't think it reads YA, and I don't think that the themes in here are YA, at least what I'm reading now. And normally, like, I'll wait to the end. If I have a divisive book, I'll wait to the end of the book and look up reviews of the book to see what everybody is thinking and to see if anybody else thinks similar to me. As soon as I got to the 50% mark, I did it in this book because, like, what is everybody else thinking? I didn't look up spoilers because I didn't want to spoil myself for the rest of the book. Honestly, I thought about DNFing it for the first 100 pages. Like, nothing drew me in. I'm finally to the point where I'm kind of a little bit drawn in, but I just, like, nothing is gripping me. Nothing is grabbing me. And just, I don't know, I'm annoyed. I'm annoyed by the whole book and how it was marketed. I'm gonna continue reading because I love Ava Reed. I love Ava Reed's one story that I read. I like to say I love Ava Reed, but I love Juniper and Thorn so much that had my very, very heart and very, very soul. And this book is just not giving me that. And so I'm gonna continue reading. I do think the writing is beautiful, but I'm not jiving with the story itself. I don't know if I'll get any more read tonight because I'm exhausted, but I'm hoping to finish this in the next day or so, and I'll check in when I get done and see if my thoughts improved any. It's Thursday. I have finished A Study in Drowning. First, I have not put this through the Realmathon points, so I don't know what kind of points it's going to get me. I'll pop it here. I have no words. I loved Juniper and Thorn. I haven't read The Wolf and the Woodsman, but I loved Juniper and Thorn. It was a 5-star for me. And I thought in the same genre, we have this fantasy horror that is also gonna be great for me. I did not like this book. And part of me still thinks so when I got done reading, I went back and read reviews of the book. I try not to read reviews before I read because it'll color my perception. I did do it at the 50% mark, like I said earlier, but I did also go back once I had finished the complete story and, tried to see if anybody felt the same way as I do to try to verify my feelings. Nobody mentioned really about the YA nature of this book. So I don't understand what makes this a YA book. And I guess it's in the forefront of my mind because I have an 11-year-old who's about to turn 12 who this book would be in her section. This book would be in her section, and this has a very, very heavy adult themes to me. And not that I wouldn't want her to read about these things, but not at that age. And it makes me so angry with that wide of an age range. There's such a different, mentally from 12 to 17, there's such a different, I just don't know why. And this is not Ava Reed's fault because I have heard that a lot of authors will write a book and they'll say, hey, this is adult. And the publisher get a hold of it and they say, well, no, I think this would make a better YA book. It would market better in the YA setting. And so they say, hey, this is going to be YA. I don't think this is a YA book. I wouldn't want my young one to read this book. Number one, I think that it has a lot of, it talks about the two different cultures of our two love interests. They're from different backgrounds, different cultures. I'm guessing different kind of countries, places. I don't know. It's not very clear in here. The fantasy world building is not clear in here. But she hates him just because of his different culture. Now, I understand that that plays a role in our society today, but that doesn't make it right. And so it kind of made me hate the main character, and also the love interest. I didn't see any chemistry. They didn't know each other for very long. All of a sudden they're head over heels in love. At one point, when they're confessing their love and I love you, it was, I loved you from the moment I saw you. I'm sorry. What? Y'all argued first, when y'all first met, and for the first few days that y'all did nothing but argue. Said you hated each other. And you loved him from first sight. I can't with this. I don't even know. There's a lot of trigger warning. It does deal a lot with sexual assault. Supposed to, I understand going into the story with like this female empowerment kind of thing. I didn't get that from the story. I didn't like our main character. I didn't like our main male character. I didn't really even like the story. I was bored of it. But I am just concerned. I'm concerned of why this is YA. Our main character is 18. She's in college. Sexual assault is a main foreplay in this book. Racism, misogyny, all of these very heavy topic that I think a lot of younger they shouldn't be reading this kinds of topics. And I think it's just because I have a child just about to be in this age range that I think about this. I don't understand why this is YA. I didn't like the writing in this one as much as Juniper and Thorn. I thought it was overwritten in a lot of places. She was trying to have this beautiful lyrical writing and it was just too much. Too many metaphors, too many similes. I don't know. I'm going to give it a generous 2-star. I would give it a 1-star, but I don't ever give books 1-star. I feel like if I probably would give it 1-star, I would have DNF'd it. I should have DNF'd this. If I wasn't in Realmathon and I wasn't in this challenge for my book club, I would have DNF'd this. For my book club, I read this book for Book on the Cover. That's what prompt I used it for. So I am going to close out this vlog. I've read 4 books, which I think is a great start to the month of March, and I'm super excited. Yeah, so I think we're off to a good start, and thank you guys for watching, and I'm going to start another vlog shortly after this to pick my next read. I will catch you guys in the next one.